Tyler here for BleepinJeep.com. It might be time to put the top and doors back on the YJ. So this is kind of the jury-rigged system that I've been using. I made some tubular webbing straps, sewed loops in the ends of them, and made them long enough that I could get them through the hardtop, and then I hooked them up with a quick link, which you can see goes up through another quick link that's chained to the beam, and then I just I've been running my come-along through the quick link down to here, and then I use a piece of webbing over here on the post to secure the other side of the come-along. Now, this has worked, but not well. This is really a stupid thing to do to a winch or a piece of wire cable. That really puts it under lots of stress. Not good for the come-along. Plus, it ties up my come-along. So, you know, I either have to climb up there and undo everything to get my come-along back, or I leave my come-along in here all winter, or all summer. So I've been pretty dissatisfied with this whole system for a while now. And quite fortuitously, we were contacted a couple of weeks ago by a company out in the Midwest, JBARR.com. It's J/BARR.com. And they make, right here in the U.S., a bar and pulley and winch system for removing hardtops on Jeeps. They asked us if we would give them an honest-to-goodness product evaluation. So I got a hold of them and ordered their deluxe kit. You can order, and I'll show it to you here in just a minute, you can order just the bar and try to rig up your own come-along system if you want. Or you can get a full kit, and it has a winch, the pulleys, the ceiling mount, everything ready to go, all the hardware and everything. So that's what I opted for. And we're going to go ahead and test it out and see if it can't do a better job than this Mickey Mouse system. So this is how the J-Barr shows up in the mail. So let's go ahead and unboxify this bad boy. So here we are, unboxed and unwrapped. So the kit includes a Badland winch, the actual J-Barr itself, which is what's going to support the weight of your top and hoist it off. This attachment here that you attach to the roof of your garage or shed or wherever you want to set this up, they give you some adjustment where to locate these pulleys. So here's your hardware bag here. So let's take a closer look at this J-Barr and see just what we're dealing with. So basically what this is a piece of 1/4 inch angle iron. They've welded a piece of steel rod into both ends. And this is solid, by the way, it's not pipe. They got a nice motocross grip on the outside here, and you can pick, I think they've got 3 different colors. You can get black, orange, or pink, I believe. Nice cushy grip. So cable looks good. It's, I believe, 1/4 inch. Crimps look good and strong. They've used 1/4 inch steel throughout. That's pretty nice. Good thick coating of paint on them too. The welds are a little butch, but if you've seen my disc brake conversion video, I'm really not one to talk. So they look good and solid. The tabs all look to be either water jet or laser cut. They're real clean. Let's install this sucker. to mount this, the pulley with the eyelet, the swivel eye, is a 9/16. It's grade 8 hardware, by the way. They didn't skimp on that, so I'm happy about that. Okay. Beautiful. Good dog, Beans. What a good dog. We're gonna mount up the wall pulley now, one of the flanges. So I went ahead and drilled some pilot holes, and now I'm bolting this to the post. Okay, I think we're ready to run the cable. J-Barr says this will hold up to 250 pounds. Well, that seems pretty strong to me. I'm pushing a $180. So I'm pretty confident that's going to hold my hardtop. Before I can put my hardtop on, I've got to take this cargo rack off. So it's heavy. It's really heavy. And this J-Barr wasn't specifically designed to remove a roof rack, but I figure, hey, this is a product test. Let's see what it's got. Well, we know this works to remove a fairly heavy roof rack. Let's see how it does with what it was designed to do and lift a top. So I went ahead and tried the cables that are designed for the two-door JK, and they are 3 inches too short. And the company, actually, as part of our testing, they asked us to figure out whether or not the JK cables would fit these older style hardtops, and apparently they don't. So they need to add 3 inches of length to them. So I'm going to get a hold of the company and see if we can't get a new set of cables sent out. And once we get there, we'll come back and I'll show you how this works. So here we are a couple of weeks later. I got my new cables from J-Barr. Now hopefully these will be long enough and we'll be able to get this top off and see how this hoist works. Now this winch does come with a manual crank handle that you can put on there. And if you hate your life and want to be 100 years old before you get the top off, then this handle's a great thing. If you want to actually get your top off the same day, J-Barr was nice enough to include this little adapter for a cordless drill that allows you to put a 3/8 drive socket on there. It's a 3/4 inch socket. And this makes this process so much faster. So let's see if we can lift the top. Well, my memory card filled up, sorry. But what I did that you guys didn't get to see was I decided to scooch the bar back just a little bit. I can see there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve to figure out exactly where the perfect spot is on the top to locate it in order to lift this without it tipping one way or the other. So I've gotten it a little bit farther back on the center of gravity there. I pulled the Jeep forward just a few inches so that I'd get directly below the pulley up there. Now let's try it again. Perfect. I could maybe go back a little bit, but I'm happy with that. All right, let's try a reinstall. I like it. I'm definitely calling that a win. Sweet. So let's take a closer look at this winch. Some really neat things about it are this worm gear against this large spur gear gives you really good torque. You saw I was able to lift and lower that top with just an 18-volt DeWalt. The other neat thing is, if you noticed, I didn't have to put any safeties on or flip anything, any switches or anything to lock this in place so the top wouldn't fall. And the reason that is because of the physics between a worm gear and a spur gear. See, a worm gear can drive a spur gear, but a spur gear cannot drive a worm gear. And this is the same principle as like an Eaton True Track, a locker for your axle, works on the same principle. What that means is that you don't have to have any cumbersome safeties that you forget to put on and your top comes crashing down. It's just a real safe, simple design. I really like it. I think they were pretty smart to go with this style of winch. So, what are my final impressions on the J-Barr hoist? Excellent, really good. I think it's worth the money. I had 4 concerns after receiving this bar and testing it out. One was that there were no written instructions. Now they do have an excellent instructional video on their website, and I'll post a link to that in the description below. This really has not been an installation or a how-to video. I wanted this to be a more of a product evaluation. But I do think that they need to have written instructions in the kit. Talking with one of the owners, he said that is in the works. Of course, there's some photography and some other things that have to happen with that, but that is coming. My second concern was that the winch is Chinese. Everything else is made in America. They even source the steel locally in the Midwest. You know what? It's probably difficult to find a winch like that's made in the U.S. that can be competitively priced. So that is something that they're trying to source. Hopefully down the road they'll be able to find an American solution to the winch. The third concern I had was the welds on the J-Barr they're sound, but they're really ugly on the bar that I got. And I talked to them about that. Again, that's a cosmetic thing. There certainly wasn't any problem with the penetration or with the integrity of the welds. They just really look bad. And to have a nice product be spoiled by crappy looking welds, they've communicated to me that they're going to address that problem as well. And then the fourth thing, originally the cables they sent me, you can see there's a little piece of shrink wrap around the pinch collar. The original ones they sent me were just the bare aluminum, and I expressed to them in an email that if you were to drop this cable and it was to swing down in an arc, that could potentially scratch your paint. Now, that's not a big deal on this, as you can obviously tell. But if one of you guys has a brand new JK and that cable swings down and puts a nice little scratch, that would probably be a little bit aggravating. So I recommended that they just throw some shrink tube over that connector, and they did exactly that. In fact, they've even got their logo printed on it now, and they just really sharp, look really great, and that gives just a little bit added protection so that you don't accidentally drop one of these cables and scratch your paint. The rest of the cable is vinyl coated, so no danger there. But really, that was my 4 concerns. So they addressed this one. They've got instructions in the works. They told me they're trying to solve the problem with the welds, and I'm sure that's just a training issue. And whether or not they'll be able to source a winch, that's really not a deal breaker for me. The rest of the product its function is just outstanding. It's tough, it's strong, it's a very complete kit. They used very good components. The pulleys are made in the U.S. They've got brass bushings in them. I mean, they're just really well made. All in all, I'm super impressed. And you know, I used it to take my roof rack off. You whitetail guys could use this thing to skin out a buck pretty easy. Detach the J-Barr, stick your gambrel on there, and now you've got a hoist, haul your deer up, skin him out. I mean, there's a whole host a whole host of things that I can think of that I'd be able to use this for, as long as I don't exceed their 250-pound limit. All in all, I think this is a product that's worth the money. You're only going to have to damage your hardtop one time and figure out just how expensive they are to replace before this really seems like an inexpensive insurance policy. You just don't want to damage your hardtop. They are so expensive. Especially the newer, the JK hardtops are just outrageous. Really going to save you so much headache and so much aggravation. I really am impressed with this. I'd recommend it to you. I think it's a great product. That's it for the J-Barr review. Thanks for watching, guys. Now, if you want to pick up one of these J-Barrs, go to their website, and if you'll enter promo code BleepinJeep10, they're going to give you a fat discount on that. In fact, it's going to make it less expensive than anywhere else you can find on the internet. Go check out JBARR.com, check out BleepinJeep.com, and I will see you next time. Thanks.